You've most likely clicked on this video because of the thumbnail. You want to be focused on improving your fishing content. Normally, the first question that I get asked is, which camera to use? Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to change that question to plural. Which cameras should I use? And without making things over expensive, I'm gonna outline some of the cameras that I would suggest to better your fishing content for 2023. Well, first things first, achieving great fishing content is never easy, just like capturing anything in the outdoors that comes to wildlife. It's very unpredictable, and just when things are happening may not be when your cameras are ready. So that's the first thing to remember in this journey of trying to capture the best fishing content possible. A really important aspect to creating better than average fishing videos is pulling in a story with your project. And this is always the most challenging part, but this is always something to think about right from when you leave home to that trip is finished, gathering some of the things like travel and food and eating, car repairs, setting up camp, putting the boat together. All of these things build into a story, which creates a much better fishing video. But the key to good stories is audio. And I always suggest having great audio capture. There are really cheap, easily available microphones at most of the electronics dealers or online at Amazon. Do yourself a favor, upgrade your audio game. Get some of the speaking and narrative that's happening at camp or on the boat or on the docks and add that into your footage. That's gonna make things much better in the story category. Over the past decade, I've collected all sorts of types of equipment, starting from really basic Sony Handycams and moving my way up through action cams into drones and now onto smaller run and gun Cine type quality equipment. The second thing to remember is data storage. This is an important part of this conversation because what do you do with all these clips? Where do you store them? How do you get them on and off a computer? And these are some of the topics that we're going to cover today. So don't be worried, there are alternatives to having huge computer systems running at home. Some of it can be done right on your smartphone. Well, we all know we can shoot tons of great quality content on a smartphone. And there's numerous different types of attachments that you can affix to a smartphone. And hey, generally, the best camera to have is the camera that's with you. So don't eliminate smartphones from your future filming plans, add them into the mix. A couple key features that you can do to update and upgrade your smartphone filming game with fishing content is you can add a polarized filter. Companies like Moment, and there's many others on Amazon, sell you these affixed kits where you can actually add onto your, over top of your primary lens, a polarized filter. Polarized filters are super important for cutting through the water and getting that kind of fish image that you're looking for. As well, to really step up your smartphone video game, you can add anamorphic lenses. And I've done a few videos describing and showing the benefits and the cool cinematic look to anamorphic lenses. So don't count your smartphone out, but remember, if you're going out and you want to make various pieces of content, you are going to be mixing your smartphone with your daily routines of videos at home with family and friends and images, and that data can get really clogged up. So use it as a B-roll cam. That would be my suggestion. And what I mean by a B-roll cam is use it for getting all those little extra inside clips. 3, I'm gonna start off with the basics, and this is where I started from. And that's what we all grew up to know as a video camera. That's a Handycam. This is my old Sony HD HDD hard disk drive 10.2 megapixel Handycam. Now, the cool thing about Handycams are their primary video cameras. And some of these models, now that one's breaching the 10-year mark, record onto an external hard drive. So that footage is always being captured into the camera, which is a nice option. Personally, I like using SD cards, which you can do as well with old Handycams because you're able to pop them out, put a new one in, save some of the footage, transfer data on the fly, but don't count out Handycams. The first reason why a Handycam's a great alternative is they're really easy to use. You basically open the door, press record, and you're gonna get some decent content. Getting up over top of Handycams and getting into action cams is a great alternative to the sport fishing capturing world. The reason why, of course, is a GoPro can film underwater, it's waterproof, it operates in the cold, they're kind of the bomb-proof little camera units. There's a few models now. Over the years, GoPros have definitely changed and added features, but the latest three, the 9, 10, and 11, are your best option nowadays to capture content with because of they easily fuse to your smartphone. So you're able to do some of the editing through the GoPro app right on your device. You can also use your smartphone with your GoPros as kind of a monitor of sorts. So you can see if you're getting that, that perfect shot and angle. GoPros have a ton of accessories, and when I mean that, it's absurd, but there's a few that I always keep with me. One, which is the most important and readily available, is the GoPro clamp. The reason being is on a boat, this heavy duty, I believe it's an 80-pound grip clamp, can affix to gunnels, rod holders, nets, railings, bows, sterns, everything. So a clamp is my #1 suggestion when you're buying a GoPro. Now these are cool too. This is a company called GoBuddy, and they're available on Amazon, and these are small extension poles. So they can just change that angle that you're normally seeing, maybe a little too close to things, and bring it up a little higher. It also gives you the choice to reach a little deeper if you're using just the clamp to get those cool underwater scenes. With GoPros, selfie sticks, as cheesy as they sound, are the ultimate tool for getting those better than average underwater shots. Having a little distance and being able to position that camera where that fish is gonna take off from your hands or get into the net creates some incredibly cool shots. So never write off the fact that the old selfie stick is an important part of your arsenal in your tool bag. Probably the best addition to GoPros, which also is available on Amazon, and this is how you achieve those really sweet underwater 50-50s. And this is called a dome. These are made by Telesin, and this is for the GoPro 9 and 10 models. Your GoPro just goes in the back, and what's really neat about these domes is that all of the buttons to operate your GoPro are accessible through this waterproof housing. And these are inexpensive. They're gonna land you shipped to Canada, where I am, for under $100. Be careful, these do scratch, so you wanna keep them in their protected covering at all time. But a dome enables you to get those sweet 50-50 underwater shots where you can not only see the angler, but you can see the fish. So don't write off a dome in addition to your GoPros. The difference between the 9, 10, and 11 is obviously color quality in 11. Stabilization is available through 9, 10, and 11, which is more superior on the 10 and 11 models, which also shoot in the upper 5K range. The 11, of course, trumps them all because of what's called 10-bit color. And 10-bit color, if you're shooting in the flat formats, gives you the choice to really tweak and adjust your colors to match your other cameras. A big advancement, and moving on up from the GoPro category, is the drone category. And if you've watched any of my content over the last few years, you know that we're using drones quite a bit, and they just produce these scenes from the air and these perspectives that we don't normally get to see. They are superb. But let me tell you something about drones which a lot of people don't know. You can go into Best Buy and London Drugs and pick up a DJI drone of your choice, but you have to be aware of the regulations. Drones from 250 grams and heavier, you need to be certified and registered. And trust me, it's not easy to pass these courses and to go through these motions to get yourself as a certified and registered drone pilot, and there's also a few tiers of that to where you can fly. So if you are buying a drone, make sure you're very knowledgeable and up to date with the current regulations through Transport Canada, because these things have changed over the years. More recently, a few of the companies like DJI have created drones under the 250 gram category, which are called minis, and these get decent content, so this isn't something to overlook. Currently, and don't quote me because the future things may change, drone operators that are flying a drone under 250 grams do not have to be certified as of yet. Another really important piece to have with your GoPros, or depending on your camera how it charges, is external power banks. And I have a ton of these. I keep 3 with me on the go most of the time, because the more content that you film, to get that better content is drawing and absorbing from your batteries. So having a good quality external power bank plugged into your cameras and helping things stay charged while you're out and abroad waiting for fish is a huge asset. The next level of creating better than average content is getting into the old DSLR or mirrorless small Cine Cam world. And the reason being, just like you're seeing from here that I'm shooting through, is the footage is a lot more cinematic and can create bokeh, which is the term used for when that background is kind of blurred out and there's some different lights and images, and just definitely gives you that bigger depth of field look to all of your films. The cool thing about mirrorless and DSLR cameras is they shoot exceptional video nowadays. You can add and have a choice and selection of different lenses, from really cool wide angle lenses to long telephotos that can punch right in on your subject. But these costs definitely do climb. You're able to find used lenses that are kind of suiting to need in around the $500 mark and way up. SD cards and monitors and better mics that can affix to these units start climbing that bill up drastically. And of course, the crowd favorite, the tripod. The thing that I couldn't film because I'm using one to film on this, while I was using this one to film that camera. A good tripod is your best friend. Last but definitely not least is editing and data storage. And this is probably the least looked at part of this creation world when people are first jumping into the scene. There's kind of 2 ways to look at this. The first, which is the easiest, is using your smartphone or a tablet and some of the pay apps or some of the free apps that are available to edit. I prefer, if I'm editing just straight off my smartphone, using mostly smartphone footage, is an app called Splice. And I've upgraded to the Splice Pro version, but there's also a handful of them that you can use to just kind of do your work straight on your phone or tablet and maybe export to social. This is what I would call kind of the primary approach to video editing. But there are definitely upgrades and things to do much better than that. Most definitely, the best way for me and many video editors is to use a laptop or a heavy desktop PC with faster RAM, which can handle all of your clips and the adjustments that you're making, and much bigger grand storage. I also recommend, when you are editing from a laptop or a PC or desktop, is to have some great girthy external hard drives where you can store all of that cool content that you're gathering for future products, like you see I do in most of these videos. My preference is editing off of my iMac as well as my MacBook Pro laptop, and I use a program called Final Cut Pro, and this does absolutely everything that I need to do. For PC users, there's also a program called Premiere. These are kind of the upper tier when it comes to video editing software, which creates some of the best content available to us. Well, I hope some of this information and these tips with some of this equipment have helped you make a few decisions, perhaps. If you're planning to move into some of that creamier, crispier fishing content for 2023, I would really appreciate your subscription to the channel. Thanks again for watching. Please feel free to like and comment if you have any questions concerning any of this equipment that we've discussed. Thanks again. My name is Brent Gill. This is Wait For It Films 2023. Have a great winter, folks. Over and out.